Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mass Effect 2174. We're off last week. We're here this week, and we are storming the temple to the Solarian goddess over on the planet of Traylon. Last time you guys arrived at the temple, there was information about yous that was scanned off of yous as you walked in. It was put on a display monitor. The temple guardian, or at least the person that says hello as you go walking in the front door, was having a conversation with you, and Ollie broke him, or her. And then because it was broken and you guys kept walking through the temple, you got attacked by these other little bots, broke them, and that was a big old bot right in front of you. Constantinia, you were able to have everybody around you focused fire on one of the shields to get it broken down enough that you could run through it, slide past it, and now you're behind the big behemoth of a machine that's taking up most of that hallway. And we are literally starting the session with it going with its weapon. So, everybody else, if this is Rick and Ollie, we're going to start the session with you guys making evasion saves.
I was about to say, everyone else doesn't really make sense if there's just two people.
Well, that's everyone else.
But everyone kind of implies more than two.
Oh, that's very loud. So loud I heard it echo off somebody else.
Yep.
All right. So, because of the fact that it didn't, this is something I think Constantinia did beforehand, you were actually able to take out its auto-targeting ability. So, its ability to actually focus on one person was removed. That gives it only its ability to do the spray fire. Now, spray fire does...
I didn't do that, but Ollie did.
Ollie did that. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So the spray fire allows it to not target on anybody, but it does half damage to everybody in the range, aside from people that make their saving throws. So let us do that damage. I rolled garbage damage anyways.
Wow.
Can I re-roll?
Wow. That is... Wow.
Well, on the bright side, Rick, you take 0 damage. Ollie, you take 2 points of damage. Now, remind me, where were your shields at prior to this? Because you guys were in combat for an extended period of time.
Mine were untouched.
Untouched. And Rick,
We EMP'd. Right, so my shields
Yours
were 0.
Down, mine's fine.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm fine.
Perfect. Awesome. And
Yours just up recharging.
that was the big baddie's turn. That brings us down to the very next turn is going to be Constantinia. You are right behind the behemoth of a machine. Its back is exposed to you. What is your plan?
I'm gonna stab it. That's my plan. Do you have a better plan? I mean, it's kind of what I do. So
I think we even talked it over, and the plan was stab it.
yeah.
So certainly your attack of 20 from behind is going to be able to hit it. 13 points of damage is a considerable amount. Of course, it has a pretty high damage resistance. Your weapons don't overcome damage resistance. Let me just double check your sheet.
They ignore shields.
Ignore shields, but not the damage resistance of armor. Of this kind of heavy armor, does it? Let me just double check your sheet. No. You can treat as 10 for the purpose of that. Okay, cool. So you do 13 points of damage. Do you get a second attack? Or no, that's how it works. That includes your second attack's damage.
That's not how dual wielding works, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So yeah.
Yeah,
that's not how dual wielding works in Stars of Armor. So yeah, that's my turn.
Perfect, awesome. So you're able to rip into behind of this thing and start more or less ripping off a plate and grabbing at some of the parts on the inside and pulling them open, causing a bit of a leak from oil here and sparking of wires over there. Hopefully they don't combine, otherwise there'll be a fire. And do a considerable amount of damage to the machine from behind. It's going to go over to James's turn next, but before we do that, there is an echo coming from somebody. Does anybody know? Yeah.
Zoom's literally quiet for me now, so can't be me.
I don't hear the echo. I can mute myself just to see if that fixes it.
The only time I heard the echo is when I made a really loud woo sound, because Rick rolled a natty 20. But apparently it is audible in on Twitch. So, all right, let's see. Your turn, James. Please go ahead.
There's no, like... How big are those holes in the wall again that the drones came out of?
They're actually pretty narrow and small. I mean, it's big enough that you would definitely be able to fit into it without your armor on. With your armor on, you can get in there, but it would be a check.
I'm going to make my way over to one.
Sure.
And then I guess I'll just keep shooting at the one sector of like shield we heavily damaged but didn't like do anything to.
Yeah, we didn't officially pop. Gotcha. Go right ahead. Sure. Attack roll to low AC.
I'm just gonna pop it once with the laser rifle that I had out.
That's a beautiful roll. And if I remember correctly, that thing was so incredibly damaged that this is definitely going to finish the job. That lower right-hand quadrant that you guys were shooting at last time, you completely popped the thing, making it so it's no longer functioning. Okay? And then, so you made your way over to that hole, but weren't quite able to get into it yet, and popped out the rest of the shield. Awesome. It's now Icolus's turn. Icolus, what are you doing with that hole? Or anything?
I don't know if there's any hole relevant to me. If there is cover, I think last time I got into cover. Oh no, I was running back towards the main door of the room, and I would like to continue doing that with all my turn if I can. But if I have an action afterwards, I will shoot.
Yeah. So more or less, the whole idea is to leave the room in its entirety. That way, it's safe for you. Gotcha. So
so I can shoot from the doorway, which is actually cover.
Yes. I gotcha. Yeah. So it will take your whole turn to get all the way over there into safety.
Fine.
So you have to shoot from the cover.
Have fun.
That leaves us with the thing left. It is going to be because its systems are so damaged. Rick, you're going to have to make me an evasion save again.
Ooh.
That is that's some extremes, Rick.
That's real bad.
Tell me about it.
That's real bad.
Going from a 20 to a 1, that's rough. All right, your shields, are they completely popped still, Rick? I believe they are.
They should be, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm not sure how many turns it was since the EMP happened.
Well,
this should be the third one by my not science.
So if that's the case, then your shields will be back up to 2. In which case, that 12 points of damage would count as 10. Rick, what's your DR in your armor?
5.
So that's 5 points of damage that Carmine takes from the heavy machine gun just kind of blasting at you. All right, so after that is going to be Constantinia. Once again, this thing it's trying to make its way forward, but Constantinia is ripping at it from behind, doing loads of damage from behind. It's nothing that's going to be able to, it's not even able to move because it has its shields up in front of it. It's more or less just a sitting duck at this point. That is a hit, Aaron. Go right ahead. And 13 points of damage. All right, so this thing is really starting to spit and squirt oils all over the place. It's sparking significantly more. It's actually one of those things where you're seeing that the sparks are happening so brightly and the oil is spilt so far all over the place that if you continue with where you are at risk of you yourself being lit ablaze. And that was your attack. Do you want to move, Aaron? Oh, you're muted.
Muted.
Is there a way for me to move backwards?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's
absolutely.
behind this thing.
Absolutely, you can.
I will do that.
Yep, head towards the actual door that's over that direction. Sure, so you hop off the thing and just start hoofing it backwards. Not a problem. That brings us to Carmine's turn. Carmine, you're going to take a pock shot before you hop into the hole?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, you're going to go right ahead, sir.
I don't have my assault rifle with me, unfortunately. That's on the ground and like overheated a while ago, so it should be fine now, but I can't really get it, so I'm just going to shoot it once with the laser rifle again.
Sure.
See if that does anything.
Do you damage? Never mind the sparks. Your laser rifle, which doesn't do a lot of damage to the thing, honestly, it has a really high DR, and your laser rifle does half damage to DR. So your laser rifle is not enough to actually really harm this thing very much. However, the heat of the laser rifle is in fact enough to definitely set those oils that have been spilling all over its body ablaze. A spark doing it was not quite as likely because the oils do require a higher temperature, which is exactly what a laser rifle is. You set the entire thing on fire. And then do you climb into your little cubby hole?
I will try to, yes.
Okay, there you go. That leaves us with Icarus's turn. Icarus, this thing is now ablaze down at the far end of the hallway. You having cover from it inside the doorway. The bottom right quadrant of its shields is taking out. But now the shields themselves are taking a licking from the fires. Please, go ahead.
I shoot at it in its general direction. Icarus is not a good enough shooter to choose a target.
Okay.
It's true, I burst fire every time.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, it's good. It's good, but there's no shooting of individual quadrants at this distance.
Does that include the +2 for the burst fire?
Yes.
Cool.
I just put it all in. I'm not gonna do not burst ever.
I mean, you've got unlimited ammo. You might as well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's a really good chance to hit and really good damage that you did to this thing.
Remember, this is a laser weapon or an energy weapon. I don't know what your rules were on that because you never told me. You just said they existed.
Yep, my apologies.
Well, basically, for laser rifles, the damage reduction from your armor is doubled.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's a laser gun or not.
It effectively is that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like you're dealing with a Prothean quality weapon. So anyways, you're firing at this thing, and once again, you're not really able to do a lot of damage to its body because of the fact that it is a laser weapon against it's an energy weapon against the high armors. However, as the thing has within itself, it tries to pull out these little tanks that it uses to put out the fire that's on it, because obviously fire cooking it's partially a bad thing. You seeing that firing at the thing with your particle kind of like pulse cannon that you have going on. You're actually able to target the canister it has, causing a mini explosion and covering the entire area with smoke and the like, still allowing the fire to burn. It's the thing's turn. It really can't do much more. Oh, Rick, you had to make me an exert check. Exert dexterity or strength.
Well, I'm going to be flexible about it.
Okay, so you're able to climb into the hole, and you're able to get like most of your body into it. Your legs are still kind of hanging out, but for the most part, you're into the hole. I'm going to allow you to make this evasion save with a +2, as it does its most likely last burst with its rifle. Make your evasion save with a +2, sir.
There we go.
You are feast or famine.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, okay, that's what I say. All right, so with your +2, you're actually able to easily avoid the bullet fire that's happening. Constantinia, you're a little distance behind it, obviously trying to hang back from. Oh, thank God, there was a little explosion there. You're generally a melee person. Do you wish to use a weapon at the moment, or just hang back?
You know what? We might as well. We'll see how this goes.
Oh, that was cocked. I wasn't sure. Where it would land.
Right?
But good, it's a 19. So you do your damage. It's beautiful damage from a pistol. Holy crap! So with your heavy pistol, you're able to once again just really fuck up this thing. On it doesn't matter whose turn is next. With the fire that's going on, the explosion that Icarus did, all the ripping of components that's happening, the last bullet fire from from your pistol, you can actually hear this thing isn't critical. You can actually hear like bells and whistles and alarms and whatnot going off. Constantinia, you know that this thing is very likely going to explode.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I opened the door behind me.
Rushing the way to the door behind you, you reach over to grab it and pull it open. The door itself is very large and ornate. You don't have time to waste to examine the door, so you grab the thing and try to pull it open, and it does pull by conventional means. In like a 21st century idea, we actually grab a door and you pull it open. The door itself is massive, it's huge, but despite that fact, it feels weightless. You grab the door and you go rushing into it.
Yeah.
Okay. You go rushing into the door. It snaps shut behind you. and where you
Great.
find yourself, we'll worry about that in a second. For you two, there is a very loud explosion. It is friggin' huge. It's so large and sends a ball of fire rolling down the hallway. Could both of you guys please make me evasion saves? Hold on. Rick, you're actually going to make it with, again, that same +2, but your legs are stuck inside the doorway, inside the corridor. So before you do that, make me an exert check, because you were, snaking.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to tuck my legs in at this point.
Ollie, you get over the +4, because you can see it coming from way down the hallway.
There's... Oh, that's...
By +4, do you mean plus or minus?
It's +4.
I already remember.
It should
Alright.
affect it in the correct way.
Oh, there is a modifier thing in that. I forgot. There used to not be.
Yeah, I
had
just
it.
lowered the success level for mine initially, but yeah, there's just a modifier for it.
I just want to check. Oh, you lowered yours as opposed to applying the modifier, Rick? Is that how it worked when you did it?
Yeah, because I didn't know there was a modifier.
Gotcha.
But I'm just gonna do it with the modifier from now on.
Not a problem. And Rick, would you like to make yours with the +2?
There we go.
And you are safe with where you are. Okay, cool. So let me just finish up rolling that damage. Okay. So the way it's going to work is that your shields are actually, so your shields themselves, their Mass Effect shields, are generally designed to slow down any targets coming at you over a certain speed. It's kinetic barriers that are designed to protect you, right? However, the shields can also help protect you against very unsafe conditions when you're out inside rough terrain. Obviously, you're wearing suits that protect you against that kind of shit. So this damage is immediately going to be halved for you, Rick, because you made your saving throw. On top of that, you'll apply shields, which you don't have, so that stays at 7. And then you apply your armor, which is 5, so you're going to take 2 points of damage. For you, Ollie, you're not going to half it, but you get to apply your shields. What are those currently at?
3.
So you're going to reduce that by 3 to 12. What's your armor, your defensive
2.
rating? So you take 10 points of damage.
Yep. I could do the simple math.
Okay, thank you so much. And you guys are more or less cooked on the other side. There's a huge loud explosion, causes a loud rumbling. Rick, I also need from you a what is it called? Exert, strength, or constitution save. You tell me which you would like to do.
Constitution.
Okay, roll it. Okay, so that loud explosion, that very, very loud explosion, the huge boom, caused all of the ground and ceiling around you to shift and crack, caused tons of damage. With you being inside the cute little hole that you're in, sure, it did provide protections. However, now it has put a considerable amount of pressure down onto your body. It is trapping you within there. Could you potentially get out? That's a hard maybe. You had a hard time getting in before it started applying pressure to you. You're fine for now. You've got a breather in your suit, you got an oxygen tank in your suit. You've got more than enough heat and everything, especially with that big burst of fire that happens. You're fine for now, but you are trapped inside that little hole. Ollie, you're perfectly safe with where you are beyond that 10 points of damage that you suffered. Aaron, you didn't hear an explosion, and you didn't feel a rumbling. You were actually inside of a room that is very, very, very dark. It actually almost looks like the night sky, or just looking out a window if you're in a ship that has a window. You're in a ship you're inside a room that's very dark. However, throughout the room, you see a whole bunch of different lights. Some twinkle, some don't. Some are brighter than others. Some have different colors than others. That almost look like you're within a spaceship looking out at space around you. The ground that you stand on does not have that look. It does actually look like the same kind of tile that you were standing on beforehand, before you came to this room. But the walls and ceiling around you do have this look to it. It's very as is almost like illusion to it, wherein you don't see how far the walls are from where you are, or how high up the ceiling is. It just gives this very Twilight kind of look to it.
Okay.
So, Aaron, what do you immediately do while they're assessing their situation out there?
I'm gonna try to turn on a light source if I have it, like a flashlight.
Absolutely. So your helmet that you have definitely has a light source. So
Already. Because I imagine like if I shine like a light on the walls themselves, I can get like a better idea of how big the room is.
absolutely, you're correct. So when you turn the light on and you're kind of like looking out into the area, the room is large enough that you can't see any walls or ceiling within the light's normal range, because the light only goes so far, of course, before it dims off. However, if you do turn around and look behind you, you do in fact see that same twilight look that seemed to stretch very far behind you is immediately behind you. When you turn around and look at it with the light, you see it shining on the wall. One thing to note is that as you shine your light onto that wall, maybe it's because the brightness of the light overshadows the twinkling that happened prior, or maybe because the twinkling just stopped for its own reasons. When you shine the light on it, you don't see the source of the twinkling on this wall.
Okay.
I will like to point out, because there has been a slew of them, Party Pool of Luck is just gained 7. And I think you used the last one last session. So we're back up to 7.
I'm gonna try to open the door
Absolutely.
behind me.
So because you know that you pulled it before, I imagine you place your hand on it and try to push it.
Mhm.
So when you go and you place your hand on the door and you try to push the door, it does not budge.
Okay. I'm gonna try to pull the door.
Sure. There is no handhold to grab onto to pull the door with.
I'm gonna try to break the door.
How do you do that?
The same way I do most things. I'm gonna claw at it.
Okay. So, obviously you're going to hit the door. That's not an issue. It's just a matter of whether or not you found like some critical components. Get a roll your damage.
My damage should have been higher, by the way, than it was. I looked at my abilities and I realized it scaled with level.
Gotcha. Well, that's okay because
Nice.
Just so you know.
the party pool luck actually should be higher. It should be at 10 now. So, Jesus. So that's better than a trump card. So you start clawing at the door and ripping and tearing at it, causing a considerable amount of damage to the metal or rock. To the rock that's behind you, because that seems to be what the door is made out of, some type of rock. As you're clawing and tearing at it, back outside, Icarus, aside from all the damage that you've sustained, you're perfectly fine. What do you do?
Walk to the door that Turian went through.
Okay, so you start walking towards the door that the Torian went through. Can you make
Sounds like a long hallway.
It is. Make me a perception check, please.
Wisdom.
Please. Okay, so as you go walking by, it's not that you rolled particularly high. It's that it's easy to see the pair of Carmine-like ankles and calves sticking out of the wall from the area that you saw him climb into.
Also, we're all linked together via like an Omnitool network, so I probably knew where he was anyway.
But now
Wirelessly.
now you see his feet.
Okay, I keep walking. Carmine's a big boy; he can handle himself.
He's gonna put a demo charge and just like aim it.
Just like the soldier in TF2, just like entirely explosion-based movement.
Awesome. So you make your
As
way.
you ask, I'm not gonna pick you up.
Do you move cautiously or do you move quickly to the end of the hallway, Ollie?
I walk casually.
Okay. Perfectly normal.
Yeah,
He's got a little swagger to his robotic step.
it's just built in. It's great.
Let's throw it over to Carmine.
I'd like to try to wiggle free.
So you're going to do
That's possible.
dexterity check to try to sneak your way out. Okay, you're welcome to make a dex check. Obviously, the DC is going to be high. I say this in case you want to,
I mean, yeah, I figured. Flat dex or exert or
exert dexterity, but if you wanted to use a PPOL.
I think I will. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually a pretty decent roll. It's not enough to finish getting yourself all the way out of the hole, but you're able to my brain's not working. You're not able to get yourself all the way out of the hole, but you're able to like really shimmy your way down a good bit to the point where you have your legs completely out, but you're around where your hips are getting stuck. this is kind of a chokehold area, so it's going to be really difficult to get out from here. Constantinia continues clawing. Iculus continues walking. Iculus, when you get to the big flaming pile of machinery that's in front of you,
Ooh.
Please.
There's a wasp in here. I was wondering if that buzzing was part of like a song. No, there's just an angry wasp now.
Is it a wasp or a bee?
It's a wasp. What do you think I am, an idiot?
Do you remember when I had to catch that bull, like hornet wasp or whatever it was in our apartment, Scott? Like, and I put it like under a cup while I hid in the other room.
Oh,
Did I tell you about
I
that?
might have to do that. I might have to cut this boy.
it's a bull-headed hornets. We had a huge nest in the tree. In the
One got in the house, and Penny was chasing it because she wanted to eat it. So I had to trap it.
I have a spray for when they get in the house.
Eric wouldn't even come into the room.
Well, he's a really, really big fella, and doesn't move very gracefully. He figures if he walks this way, he'll just get stabbed.
It's funny.
Oh, jeez.
I would like to, if it's not on fire, take scrap metal from this body.
It is on fire.
Or the other robots in the room. There's a lot of robots. I'll do that then instead. I'll go I'll go to the fire flaming robot last.
I imagine Iculus in the Jack body starts walking up to this big flaming heap of metal, like twisted and burnt, that exploded metal, stares at the fire, much like somebody would after way too many beers or a joint on a late summer night, and then turns around and walks back and starts picking up body parts off of the other robots.
Snap.
Awesome. Ollie, if you would like to step away for a moment so you can go and take care of that situation.
Yeah.
I remember last time you had to do this. It was a thing. All right, so that's going to jump the cameras around. When he comes back, we'll deal with it then. So you guys are clawing, collecting parts, and Rick, you are going to have to shimmy again, I guess?
I guess so, yeah.
Do you want to use another papal?
I think so. I'm gonna need some good dice on this.
All once.
And they deliver.
Not bad. You're actually able to shimmy yourself down to a point where we were caught now. It's super uncomfortable. You're caught actually at like your shoulders. And you're like, God damn it. And you think at this point, you probably don't need the papal anymore. One way or another, you should be able to get your way out. The only concern you have is if you screw up too badly in trying to get at this last portion, it could potentially apply a lot of pressure to your helmet. That's the only big concern. But, again, you're actually doing pretty darn well. Aaron continues clawing. Ollie continues collecting. And that brings us back down to you, Rick.
Right, I'll roll this one normally, I guess. And I'll die.
Double ones. And actually with this one, because like I said, how far out you're able to get yourself, this time trying to shimmy at first doesn't really work so well. So you end up having to take your feet and kind of like tuck them up and start like pulling your body out. Now this is something that you would usually be like, that sounds horribly unsafe, if it wasn't the fact that you're wearing Duratanium armor that will protect you against the amount of damage that is going to be done to you. Sure, your suit's getting a bit ripped and torn and whatnot, but eventually able to kind of like wiggle and pull and thrust your way out. Several rocks falling and tumbling onto you as you hit the ground behind. When you finally are able to stand up on the ground, you're like, oh, finally got yourself out. And you look up, you see not but 2 meters away from you is Iculus, like reaching down and picking up a component of one of the droids that you guys had recently destroyed, like nonchalantly picking up the component as you fall to the ground.
Right. I stretch because that was uncomfortable. And then I go and pick up my rifle. And then I'll give the robots a once over that haven't been picked clean yet.
Oh, you just kind of go join in and assist him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sounds great. Ollie, could you roll me an electronics check, please?
For the record, if this changes anything. It doesn't matter the quality of whatever I scrap. I literally just want the metal mineral. The metal of them.
100% understand. From an electronics check.
I'm harvesting scrap metal.
Yes, but while you are harvesting scrap metal, you're able to find several components that have greater value than others. So you actually have things that you could use in the future to work on to greater enhance bodies and the like. So you're able to grab up scrap metal and kind of put that in one big pile that you intend to take on the way out. And then you have other components that you...
No, I take the scrap metal with me. How much do I take?
Oh, I mean, how much can you hold? Your body has a very low encumbrance, doesn't it?
Oh, it's very hard to tell because the whole encumbrance system isn't as good as on the real character sheets.
Yes, it is. It's perfectly normal.
No, it doesn't work. For some reason, my encumbrance doesn't exist anymore. I'll have to actually do the math. I don't know if the gun in my arm counts for it.
Oh, when you say the real character sheets, you mean the recently created brand new character sheets for the updated...
The ones that were released after these ones, yeah, which is a bit weird why after you made these ones. Yeah. There's just the new Stars on Armor character sheets on Roll20, they're really good, and
if your strength is 12, their max readied is 6, and your
I know how much my max readied is. I'm just trying to do the math on the how heavy is a sniper rifle?
Max stowed is 12.
Oh yeah, I forgot stowed is a thing because you never really explained it very well.
Sniper rifle is encumbrance of 3, but your armor takes up absorbs 2 of that, so it only counts as
what
encumbrance
armor? Oh, hard points.
Your hard.
Oh, then I've got like a ton I can carry. I carry.
If you look at your character sheet, I just added sniper rifle 2 with encumbrance of 1. It works perfectly normal.
Why didn't you capitalize it?
Because I was doing a test run. The encumbrance works perfectly fine, Grumpy Ollie. All right, so
it works fine. It doesn't work well. Yeah, I just fill all space I can with scrap metal because I need to repair my body.
There you go. Sure. So you grab 12 points, we'll say, of scrap metal, or more, maybe even 14. Cool. So you do exactly that. You guys finish kind of like scraping up these things. Constantinia, you're ripping and tearing at this stone. Eventually tearing through the stone, you do find there's electrical components behind the stone. You imagine that the reason why those components exist there is to help with the functioning of the door. This is a high-tech temple that you happen to be in. And do you just keep ripping and tearing through that?
Can I do what I did in my prequel mission to open a door, where I just like try to jumpstart it?
Yeah, you use the battery off of a gun.
Yeah.
You can go right ahead. Which gun are you going to use?
The rifle.
So, you go right ahead and make yourself an electronics check.
We're giggling because my character can't use rifles.
I know.
Even though she might be able to. Explain to the people watching.
Alright, so with your electronics check, you're more or less trying to set it up so you can take the battery and start draining power. This is going to take a considerable amount of time that you're playing with wires. You other two, you finish with your scrapping up and getting all the stuff that you can gather there, and can finish making your way over to the door.
Okay.
When you approach the door, you can clearly see the door handle. You're both familiar with this kind of door, even if they're very uncommon. But in front of the door, you actually see there's a slight red glow in front of the door that has words written in Solarian. Carmine, your Solarian understanding is pretty limited, but you know the basics. Ollie, you know that you can read Solarian with the greatest of ease. Anyways, it says emergency lock explosion. Emergency lock explosion. It says like emergency lock explosion. It's kind of like blinking in and out, so you can see that it has that.
Is this
there.
a computer or?
The door itself has this like light in front of it.
Oh, that very much confused me for a second there, but I forgot holograms exist.
Again, remember, it's because the station is running on auxiliary power at the moment. So.
I mean, is there any kind of terminal?
There was no terminal that you've seen inside here.
Okay. Then I can see. Wait, is this door closed? I'm very
Correct.
confused in the
Yeah,
whole
it's the
situation.
door that Erin came through originally, and it's closed, and she's...
Oh, and now she's on the other side trying to open it again.
Correct.
She should just keep going. She'll be fine.
You don't know what she's doing. Do you want to try to use your tool to hack into the thing?
You said there's no terminal.
You can go through walls.
Oh, yeah, I forget that's a thing, because I don't technically have an Omni tool. Then yeah, I was going to see if I could disengage the emergency lock, but I didn't know if there was a computer in the wall or what.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I want to... the entire, like, system-wise disable that. I'll use a party pool of luck, because why not?
Decryption.
Wow.
Ooh.
You rolled for... Ah!
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
That's okay. Icarus is just rolling how I feel.
Holy crap. Like, shit.
3 once.
That is...
That's the kind of mood I'm in today.
That is the
We've
worst.
got some interesting dice today.
Yeah. It really is feast or famine. So you try to hack into the door, and unfortunately, it actually does not work.
I just keep trying.
Okay, you can roll again. You're going to do a regular 3d6 one?
Yeah. I just keep trying till the heat death of the universe, really. It's kind of one of those things where these kind of rolls don't necessarily make sense for a robot who has less sense of, like, time. Because really, he's just going to keep going until, like, until after Carmine is a skeleton.
Huh. So, or your
Until
batteries...
someone tells him to leave.
Or your batteries drain. So,
I forget I have batteries, because the rules are
Yeah.
different.
So you, well, batteries always exist in Stars Without Number. So,
Not for my class, though.
For robots in general, they do.
Not for my class, though.
For robots in general. So, you use your, so what is it? You sit there and you hack at it for a while, and eventually, Constantinia, you get it! You did it! The door unlocked! You can actually hear,
Okay.
did a good job! It was all you. Totally. And so the door unlocks. However, unfortunately, because it's been powered down, because of the, tomfoolery that's happened, even though it's unlocked, it's no longer had its weight reduced. So now what you end up having to do is grab this thing and pull at it. Constantinia, you pushing from the other side, and eventually you guys are able to move this thing open. It's like it's dragging on the floor. It is above the floor, but it doesn't feel weightless. It still requires a good amount of effort to get the momentum for it moving. To which I do have to ask, once you get this thing moving, do you allow it to just kind of like go and slam open, or do you also like stop it from hitting the wall on the other side?
I would try to stop it if no one else does.
Okay, that's fine. So you guys, put the effort to open the thing not too quickly and to stop it from slamming on the other side. As soon as the door opens up and you see Constantinia there, you see a whole bunch of wires hanging off of the door and out of a rifle that she has hanging from the door. Immediately, Carmine, you can see that this is like such horrible abuse to a rifle. Icarus, you can see that this was just a very, very poor job to try to do any form of lockpicking that just didn't work. And both of you guys can see, holy shit, what did she do to this wall? It has been ripped and torn open. It looks like you left a family of cats, of feral cats, alone with your leather couch for a month. You know what I mean? Like, it is not good. So the door opens up, you guys see each other. But more importantly, you guys can see into the room that seems to be like an endless expanse of stars and darkness.
Reminds me of home.
Are you sure? I can see in, like, several wavelengths.
Give me one of your other options. Because you're going to flick between them.
I don't know if it gives me an explicit thing, but we already said that, like, thermal and electromagnetic.
Cool. So
at least those two. It might actually say in the description if there's a list, but I think it's just generic, I can see Geordie LaForge powers.
So with thermal, because of the fact this entire facility has been getting colder and colder, as stated last session, the fire itself is kind of able to stave that a little bit. So Not much though, because the temperatures are extreme. So as you guys are as you're looking in here with your thermal vision, you're able to see ever so slight pox of light that are the heat of the actual bulbs or whatever they are that is causing the twinkling happening throughout the facility. Excuse me, the twinkling that's happening throughout the facility. And switching to electromagnetic, you can actually see this entire room is lit up. You can actually see the room very, very well when you switch over to electromagnetic, because you can actually see where the pulses of energy are going throughout the room. The whole thing is lit up for you in that beautiful kind of bluish, whitish light, almost like a staticky light that you see. So as you go walking in the room and switching to that frame, you see that the entire room is pretty large. First of all, it's a circular room. It's about 300 meters in diameter, so it's a pretty large circular room. Looking throughout the room, obviously zooming in the different places that you can, looking throughout the room, you see that there are no other doors that seem to come out of the room. No doors in any other direction. However, the very center of the room, there is almost like a cone-like shape that is there. That's kind of coming down like a stalactite. Tight for top, yes. Wait, stalagmite? Stalactite. The one that comes down is in the center of the room, and it's coming down somewhat. And you can see that there is more energy coming from that area than anywhere else.
I just walk that way.
Sure.
And I just leave the two blind humans to do what they do. Icarus may not even know that they can't see.
I mean, I have a light in my head.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would just follow the robot.
So you guys can easily follow Icarus because you can see the light shining off of Icarus's beautiful shiny bum. So you guys are following behind Icarus as it makes its way over towards the...
Don't laugh at him. It encourages him.
But it was funny. Over towards where the spine is growing down inside this glowy, sparkly room. As you guys get closer and closer to the area, you can actually see that cone starts to glow now, so that in a spectrum that the two of you guys can actually see. And then as you finally finish the approach to it, you can see that it's glowing fairly bright.
Can I scan it with my Omni tool?
Absolutely, you go right ahead. Aaron?
Aaron?
You can't do anything or observe?
No, I'm gonna absorb the information.
So what do you need me to roll?
For scanning is a perception intelligence check.
Okay.
So you try scanning the thing, all you're able to get off of it is that this seems to have its own power source, separate from whatever's running this facility. That's all you're able to acquire.
Alright, it seems to have its own power. That's something, I guess.
Okay. So, Icarus, you staring at this thing and watching, you're able to see the amount of activity that's happening on the electromagnetic spectrum is growing so great. It's become very, very, very bright. Because you're able to see that, you are able to assume that if you were to switch to regular lighting, you'd be able to see fine there as well, or at least be able to see there. Maybe not as well. Oh, excuse me. Watching this thing as it's doing manipulation, watching this thing as you see it like growing in its energy, it seems to whatever reaction it was doing has stopped. It was doing something, but now it's stopped. It's no longer gaining. It's no longer increasing the amount of energy that it's using. It's no longer manipulating the stuff around it as it was beforehand. It just is holding static at this point.
Is this consistent with any machinery I've seen before?
Roll me a lore. Nope. Yes, lore. Intelligence check, but you actually get an extra D6 on this one.
An extra D6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've never done that before.
Ooh.
You've been spending a long time doing a lot of research and studying and so on and so forth. While this is something that you've been able to observe without the equipment that you've had on the vessel, you can tell that the way that this thing seems to be manipulating the matter around it, the way that this thing seems to be moving, it is consistent with the math. So like watching this and like kind of like breaking down the math in your head is consistent with how you've seen the math breakdown of what your ship has picked up of this very strange particle, this ancient particle that you guys have been studying beforehand. Obviously, again, you've never studied it with the naked eye, I say to a robot.
Yeah, you keep saying I like switch visions. Really, I'm probably looking at all of the visions at once.
I imagine switch vision.
I'm a robot. Why would I switch?
I have a human brain, and I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's easy to describe that way. I
where you can switch between them. Was it Splinter Cell?
I don't know.
You never played Splinter Cell?
No,
Oh,
they were cack.
Really?
Splinter Cell.
They looked cack.
I'm not sure what cack means, but Splinter Cell was a lot of fun.
You can take a wild guess.
I think that means amazing.
They were cack.
But there were a lot of fun. You could switch between different types of vision, and
so does that mean? From what you're describing it, and this is purely description, not like world logic. Is it a hologram displaying fake particles, or is it particles?
You actually believe this is the particles itself. It does not look like a hologram at all.
All right, I'm gonna go like make some kind of container in my body. I'm just gonna walk up to the stalactite and like go to.
You did try to manufacture something in the past that would be able to contain these things, correct? You did. No.
Pip said she would give us one, I think.
Oh, that's right. She said she would give you one. In which case, she already would have. So you actually would still have that container back on the ship. I don't think you would have carried it in here. Would
No,
you?
exactly. So I'm just gonna make it.
Try to remanufacture something that Pip had to do.
Is it a TL4 technology?
It's a big old tech thing. It's a TL5 tech thing.
I will make a TL4 equivalent. I will make a TL4 Ziploc bag that is one encumbrance or less.
So the idea of it being something that's not as efficient, but will hopefully be effective. Okay.
It'll store some to be like, these exist. And I will say to the party is like, well, here's the particle. It is strange that we are researching, trying to find something that does not exist, yet there is an entire facility dedicated to its existence made by the people who gave us the job. But I do not understand organic creatures.
So you start trying to manufacture as you said, a Ziploc bag to capture some helium-3, and so you put this thing together.
I'm a robot.
Do you have to make a check for that, or does your body just succeed?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Does it in a main action.
Awesome. So, think you pull out like a jar, like somebody.
Yeah, I just imagine like a space jar.
Yeah.
It's the size of encumbrance 1, so it could be. Which this game is pretty big. Yeah. Roughly.
Yep. It's a decent size that it can hold in theory. So you so I was right. Stalactite. Cool. Stalagmite's the ground. Yes. So you make your way over and you try to use this jar. So how are you trying to get this lit up particle into the jar? What's your intention here? So,
but way better than that, because I'm a robot who can calculate everything based on the math about how it's actually going to happen. But I'm just going to put it in the jar.
So as you reach out to touch this particle, as you reach out to kind of like grab it, it doesn't. Like you try to take this thing and like pull it down and try to cut it, whatever it is. It does not cut. It does not go with your hand.
But particles cutting? I'm very confused about this whole description. And it might be my tiredness, but I cannot visualize what is happening at all.
What is it? Stalactite?
Oh, the stalactite is the thing.
The stalactite has where the energy source is. Correct. You don't believe that the whole stalactite is this particle, but you know at the very tip of it seems to be having it or resonating the way that stuff did before in prior research.
Which would constitute that the stalactite is some kind of material. Correct. And that this is on it, so I should be able to scoop it.
So you try taking the thing and you try to like cut the thing or try to cut this particle off or scoop this particle off.
Yeah, I was imagining it as a gas, which is why I did this.
Correct.
Now that I know it's not a gas, I may not have done this. But okay.
So it does not. It does not come with your intention. As for whether if it's a gas or solid, you honestly, again, it's your sensors aren't able to determine which one it is. It's so, the particle is so strange, and you don't have your correct sensors with you. You're not in your vessel.
That's true. I guess I would just keep making different containers to try and devices to try and pluck it free. I really don't know what to tell you, honestly.
Yeah, that's fine. So
I don't got any specialized skill or anything that would do anything different, or any checks that could do anything different.
Of course. So the two of you are watching Icarus trying to manufacture these different types of like scraping tools and almost like mini vacuum tools. There's different types of things to try to collect what Icarus believes, and I'm sure he informed you, is the particle right here. And he's making all these different devices, probably using some of that scrap metal that he has, but unfortunately is been unsuccessful thus far. What do the two of you do onto the side or to aid or whatever?
I imagine I'd be trying to like scan further, like scan around the stalactite, or like look around the facility, see if there's any other traces, or if there's any like, I don't know, ancient manual written on the wall.
So why don't you roll for me your scanning check? Aaron?
I'm going to physically look around while he's like scanning like that and like see like I don't really know what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna physically look around, taking the area.
So you're gonna do a wisdom-based perception then?
Sure. That sounds about right.
Cool. So while you are physically searching around, you are able to find all these different walls as you finally like pick a direction and just walking towards it. And it does feel a bit ominous. It does feel a bit intimidating. The only reason why you're not like, okay, this is probably a bad idea and I'm probably going to fall off into space, despite the fact that it looks that way, is because you already know you came through a door and beat the shit out of the thing. And you can still see the ground beneath you still looks like the ground. So this keeps you, for lack of better phrasing, grounded as you're walking through the area to not be like frightened. You're just going to step off the edge. So you are able to come to the edge and like really search around on those walls, and you do come to realize there aren't light bulbs or anything like that you can tell built into these walls. Whatever it is that they're using to kind of give off this twinkling light, these bright lights, they're done so by some electronic pulse in the stone to something else. It doesn't. The tech is beyond you at the moment, but I'm sure if a scientific team came in here, they'd be able to figure it out. As for you, Rick, you're scanning the area, trying to find out patterns, trying to find out anything else that you can from the facility. And you do actually find a pattern. It takes you a little bit of like searching around inside the area, but then you come to the realization that where you're looking at, standing in the center of the place and looking around, it seems to be the way that the stars are aligned and whatnot. They actually are coming from the way that the stars are aligned and everything. You actually come to the realization that this is coming from a specific point in space. Like these are actual constellations of actual stars, and running like cross data sheets and whatnot, like kind of like from this point in space, doing the best you can with a quick scan and running that through the extranet and the algorithms you have in your Omni tool. You can even kind of like, oh, so then that would be Saul over there, meaning that this isn't coming from a human perspective. And then do another quick check. Okay, well that makes sense. Is this the Anos Basin? And so you check and you're like, no, this isn't coming from the perspective of the Solarian homeworld either. And then doing a last third scan really quickly, because of the system that you happen to be in, which Raylene is, the strenuous system, you look and you're like, this also isn't coming from the perspective of the strenuous system. So whatever perspective that this center area is looking at to the vast stars around you, you're not sure where it is, but it's neither Earth nor the Solarian homeworld star, nor the night sky that you see in the strenuous system, which is where you are right now. It's coming from somewhere else, and a quick scan of your Omni tool is not going to be able to figure that out. That's going to take a bit more research back on your ship.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind then as like a side project thing to like study.
Okay. The whole while you guys are kind of like walking around and come to these conclusions about the stone and what's causing the glow, the fact that this is in fact the Milky Way galaxy and potentially galaxies beyond because of the little glows that you see, but from some different perspective. The whole while, poor Icarus is manufacturing all these different tools trying to grab up this particle, but has been thus far unsuccessful in doing so, which I imagine is infinitely
Guess what?
frustrating.
I give up.
There you go.
I literally just take a video of it in all the frequencies, and I start beaming it to Lepip.
Okay.
With basically the message of, I assumed we were finding data. We were not. We found a particle. Your government was hiding it. Gone. Here. Done.
Okay. There you go.
Do we remember that Lepip is going to be arrested soon?
I don't really care.
Yeah, like at this point, there's not much we can do about that except make sure that it's worth it.
If it's sent to her and like they NSA it, then the people know as well. And like I call it like the God particle or whatever, like saying they have for it. But that's kind of it. And I just go, well, we came here to find information. All the information they ever want will be here when they come and get it.
And at this point in time, is this when you choose to turn and leave the facility?
I have no real reason to stay. We could check the other route, but I'm willing to bet it just goes to another chamber like this.
Either that or it like circles back around to like the main chamber, which is then this.
There's no other
In some
doors
way.
to this one.
Hmm.
That would be what I would have assumed, but there's no other doors. So there's probably like a second one. It'll end up looking like a womb. It'll be super poetic. But yeah, I would suggest we leave. I have no reason to stay.
Does that mean you blew up a fallopian tube?
Don't think about it.
Okay. Just saying.
Every night, baby.
Oh.
There we go.
Anyways.
Easy joke.
So you guys choose to then turn and leave the facility. Like, we got what we can. Assuming everybody's in agreement and you choose to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You
I don't
guys,
see any further reason to stay.
That's exactly my point, more or less.
you go to turn to leave the facility, and as you make your way over towards the door, which of course is propped open because there's no electronic, it's so heavy, it's just kind of stuck with where it was. As you guys are walking out of the facility, don't forget you've been in here for a considerable amount of time. And so, between the combat, the cleaning up after combat, trying to open the door, the studying this particle, making all these devices, so on and so forth, it's been an hour. So as you guys go to leave the facility's power starts to come back online. And we take our first break. We'll be back shortly with a pissed off hologram trying to murder Icarus. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be very
Raiders
strange
of
if
the
this
Lost Court
hologram
will
has
be back
emotion.
momentarily.
We'll be right back.